of my brief. I looked through the keywords highlighted there, and I broke them down into what I think they mean anyways. My understanding. So sustainable, social and environmental issues, creative artifact, and then waste and end of life or reclaimed materials. I also looked at some of the requirements. They're in the kind of orange, and they're highlighted here with the arrows as well. Here's my initial thought process. I immediately went to recycled materials. I looked at plastics and reused recycled plastics. I looked at thermoplastics, and then I found this kind of cool one here on Pinterest of a mix of wood shavings and thermoplastics melted into a mold to create a stool. It's a quick sketch, a rough idea what I kind of looked at a three-legged stool, but it wouldn't work because I found it difficult to find a way of putting a joint or a scale into this one. So then I looked at cardboard and then how that might evolve, and then I looked also at the cardboard, the voting posters, and instead of the sticks here I would put in the voting posters. But again, I found it difficult to put a scale into this, but also the 80-20 ratio I feel is a bit off there as well. There's more, go into a bit more detail there on the slides. Here I looked at my scale. I really wanted to do steam bending as I feel it's nice and versatile. There's plenty of uses, different options or different ways of going about it. Found it difficult to, when looking at material, and try and find a problem that way. So I looked at social issues, and initially I was looking at big social issues like everybody else, but I zoomed in on my own social issues at home. So I'm from the Iron Islands, and we're surrounded by the ocean, but it's very isolated as well. So, but being so isolated, for older people and even regular, or I say regular normal people, would be an issue. If you're not outgoing, it can be difficult. Somebody that was too big of a problem, I felt. So I kind of zoomed in on pollution, and then even further again on specifically the ocean. And then here's what I remember from doing cleanup at school. The main chunks of waste were picked up, but there was a lot of small bits left over. And then I looked at microplastics and how they are in the ocean, and it's near impossible to take those back. So I decided to look at those smaller bits that are left behind and ways of trying to clean those up. So now that I have my issue, I started to look at driftwood as a material. I already know how to work with driftwood as I do some pyrographies in my own spare time on the driftwood, just because it's reusing it, recycling it. A lot of it is well, I say a lot. There's some bits that are plywood for sure. You can see that, and other bits like with the draft there was a big log, and I cut it up, and I got a nice flat bit out of there. But I know from experience how to work with it, how to clean it out, make sure it's usable. If it's just trash, then otherwise, or just fit for the fire. And because of this, I have a at home, dried, ready to work with. So I feel like that would be my go-to material. Following its life cycle, majority of what we get at home isn't like what we see up here, the bits from trees and stuff like that. It's more square, or more than likely from boats, either discard or actual boats have come ashore and it's actually broken up fishing boats. So you kind of can narrow it down a bit more there. So I started to research my issue a bit, like I explained in one of the videos before. So I zoomed in on actual cigarette butts and how they pollute the ocean and the beaches. So my quick initial design was one of the big logs, bore through the middle and create a grid and a lid that will lock, and then you dispose of your cigarette butts there instead of throwing them on the beach or on the sand along the ocean. So preventing all these pollutants entering the water, and even in the fish, once they eat them, they'll stay there forever. They're not going to digest those. So that was my first one. Hang on, I've gone too far. Oh yeah. So there's some more information there, some more research I did, looking at the issues that are with the cigarette butts. I came up with a possible brief: design and make an artifact using waste, end of life, and/or reclaimed material that contributes to the effort of preventing cigarette butts entering the ocean. So that's just a first initial draft of my brief. I think I might have to reword that or look at it again to suit my project a bit better. Here's some of my thoughts. So as I've explained so far, the initial ideas, need finding was finding some problems there. So I started off with like need finding, but that wasn't working. So initial ideas went there, then back to that, and then from there to analysis, and then to research. So they're all linking up pretty well there so far. And here is my mood board. So where I'm from inspires me. It's just I suppose it would for a lot of people, but being from the islands, we have such a diverse ecosystem and landscape, so that's really I suppose inspiring and really nice. Then I have my hobbies. My main one, I suppose, would be other than sports, would be my pyrography, which I'm developing nicely and creating a small business, I guess, from that. So that's a nice motivator there, and even bit of cash in this there as well from something I enjoy doing, which is great. I really enjoy photography and kind of picking up on that lately, and basically wherever I go with the camera with me. And yeah, it's nice to get some nice feedback from people from my photos and from my pyrography as well. And I suppose one of my mains, especially in the summertime, would be my work. I drive a pony trap on the Iron Islands, and sometimes I'm dealing with tourists and new people all the time, and motivates me as well. So it's great to have some nice animals to work with as well. And then I suppose the issue of earning money as well, the need to survive, is also a motivator, I guess, but it wouldn't be a main one. It's really enjoyable work to go with.